Welcome back, guys, to another preview, and boy, are these games coming thick and fast, and I absolutely love it. So it's Aston Villa at home on Sunday. Aston Villa rock up to Stamford Bridge without a win in the last 7 games, but don't let that fool you, because I absolutely love what Unai Emery has done at Aston Villa, and I just think they might be going for a moment, but you cannot take Aston Villa lightly because they can punish you at any opportunity. And look, Chelsea come into this in decent form with only one loss, which was in the Cup against Newcastle away in their last 8 games. And personally, I think this is going to be an absolute cracker because Aston Villa are like a wounded animal. And I'm telling you, these are aggressive and they will come to play. So I'm here today to tell you a little bit about Aston Villa, what to expect from Chelsea, and how we can break down Aston Villa. Firstly, in case any Aston Villa fans are watching this, I want to commend you guys on what you're achieving. I get on with a lot of Aston Villa people, and what you've done since Unai Emery's come in and what you're doing in the Champions League this season is nothing short of exceptional. And I'm really not trying to sound patronising. I honestly love it. Now, for the reason that Aston Villa have not won in the last 7 games, I think they're going to come to Stamford Bridge with a lot of intensity. They play with a high line, they like to suffocate the opponents, and they're very, very good at triggering the pass and press, baiting the opposition into thinking they can play out from the back before bang, they're in, they're aggressive, they try and win the ball back early. So Chelsea have to be wary of this. Aston Villa set up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. But that formation doesn't stick because defensively, they're so compact in a 4-4-2. In fact, Unai Emery has done a brilliant job in mastering the art of defending in a shape which is 4-4-2 and pressing in numbers. Now, what they like to do is be extremely compact in central areas, so they will have their wingers tucking inside, leaving no room centrally and forcing the opposition out wide. So the midfield pivot will have a complete shutdown of the central areas, and the 2 wingers will cut out those inside passing lanes. Now, out of possession, one of the most impressive aspects of Unai Emery's team is their aggressiveness and intensity in their counter-pressing. The front 2 will trigger the press, and the 2 banks of 4 will conduct a high level of man-to-man pressing. But Unai Emery focuses more on zonal marking. This just allows him to keep his compact press. Now, they do originally play with a high line, but as we've seen against Bayern, that high line was slightly deeper. They also did this against Liverpool. So it's a guessing game whether they're going to play high line against Chelsea or be slightly deeper like we're seeing against Bayern. Now, this is just me guessing. I actually think they're going to come out and play high line. The reason why, because I think they trust their press to force Chelsea into mistakes. Now, out of possession is probably my favourite about Aston Villa. I absolutely love watching Aston Villa in transition because of their want and will to get forwards. They're a team that like to play out from the back, but it's all with purpose. They're not passive in possession. They're extremely direct and decisive. They want to get from A to B as quickly as possible. Now, what Aston Villa do brilliantly compared to most teams is they get bodies in and around Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins is their front man. He's their man that moves into the channels. Ollie Watkins is their front man. He's the one that moves into channels. But what they're very good at, not many teams do this, is get bodies around them, whether that be John McGinn or Morgan Rogers. There's always people moving into half spaces, getting around Ollie Watkins, supporting Ollie Watkins, and attacking the channels. So Ollie Watkins is always their main threat, but he's often supported by 2 number 10s. It's very similar to what Enzo Maresca did at Leicester last season. But in possession, if the possession is in the left-hand side, he'll have their right back joining in attacks with delayed forward runs. And vice versa, if the ball is on the right-hand side, you'll have his left back, which is often Lucas Digne, joining in attacks with delayed runs forward. And at times, during dangerous transitions, you'll often have them both joining in the attack. This just provides ultimate balance, but also width. And it also provides unbalances in the opposition's defence. The last thing I want to point out about Unai Emery's side is when they're playing a team that is not as comfortable playing out from the back, they'll often press in a 4-2-4 shape. This just allows them to squeeze the pitch, be aggressive, trying to win back the ball as early and as high up as possible to create a better chance of scoring. Now, the beauty of this game is Enzo Maresca has also been a tactical genius this season. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to expect from Enzo Maresca, but I'm just going to tell you how we'll break down Aston Villa using the profiles in our squad. Now, one thing I will say, and this is where we can punish Aston Villa, is using the width. We all know Enzo Maresca likes his wingers high and wide. Now, what I would do going into this fixture is having different profiles of wingers. So what I mean by that is, if you start Noni Madueke on the right, I would actually start either João Felix or Jadon Sancho on the left, because you've got somebody that's direct that can use a place, but you've also got a ball manipulator. And this just gives Aston Villa different things to think about. So another example, if you start Pedro Neto, I would start Jadon Sancho or João Felix. I wouldn't start Jadon Sancho and João Felix together. You could possibly get away with starting Pedro Neto and Noni Madueke, but I think he wants more control of the ball. Who gives you that? João Felix and Jadon Sancho. And the reason why I would start one of these two is because you need to bait Aston Villa's press. You need players that are composed and comfortable under pressure, because once Aston Villa trigger their press, they press in numbers, they hunt you in packs. So if you have a player that is more than comfortable with good decision making that can beat that first line of pressure, then you broke through Aston Villa. But one thing Chelsea must do is, Aston Villa like to make their pitch compact. What do Chelsea like to do? Create overloads in the middle. So in the central areas, it's going to be busy. So we must move the ball out wide early. Use this width to our advantage. I personally think he's going to start with Enzo in the middle, so I would not have Enzo moving into that number 10 position. Keep your fullback doing that, because Enzo starts doing that, he lacks that athleticism to get back, and how dangerous Aston Villa are on transition moments. We need somebody with that athleticism to be able to get back. So this would be my starting 11. So this is what I think Enzo Maresca will do. I think you'll continue with Robert Sanchez. I think the fact that Balacio played in midweek leaves the door open for Malo Gusto to come back. I think he'll be starting right back. I think it'll be our defensive duo Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwill. And then I think Marc Cucurella will start at left back. Now, on the right wing, I actually think he's going to continue starting Noni Madueke. The double pivot will be Moses Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. On the left wing, I actually think he's going to start João Felix. Then Cole Palmer is a number 10. Nicholas Jackson as at number 9. Now let's start with defensively for Chelsea. I think we'll press in a 4-4-2. I think that's crucial. Just have Cole Palmer pushing up alongside Jackson and pressing in numbers. If we're pressing individually, Aston Villa will just pick us apart. Now in possession, I think our wingers are going to see a lot of the ball. I think Enzo Maresca is just going to try and go around Villa rather than try and going through Villa, because that's where you'll get most of your success. And I think he might actually adopt the tactic of having João Felix coming inside like we're seeing against Leicester and moving Marc Cucurella out wide. The reason he does this is because it pulls Matty Cash out of position. Now I think Aston Villa are at the weakest on their right-hand side. Leon Bailey doesn't track back much, and I think Matty Cash is there to be got at. Now I don't think this is a game where Nicholas Jackson is going to see a lot of the ball, but you want him to see the ball in those dangerous areas. So what I would be telling Nicholas Jackson, if I'm Enzo Maresca, use that half right-hand channel, exploit that channel, because you're able to get it in and around Matty Cash. Now, two other players that will be vital in everything we do is Enzo Fernandez in the middle of the park. He needs to be at it, spotting the runs early, using his vision, his ball playing ability, just to manipulate Aston Villa. He needs to be composed in possession. He needs to be comfortable when being pressed. And then it's the timing of a release and the way to pass is what will win us this game. Remember, the ball moves quicker than the man, so if we move the ball earlier, the less time Aston Villa have to get back into their 4-4-2 shape. And this is what I like Enzo Maresca's brought to Chelsea. Last season, when Pochettino was in charge, we've seen a lot of passive possession. We've seen a lot of possession that wasn't really hurting the opposition. Against Aston Villa, we need to be direct and hurt the opposition, because Bayern Munich tried to control the game. They tried to get a foothold of the game, and they just couldn't because of Aston Villa's intensity. So what I'm trying to say is we can't just pass the ball around the back four. We need to be decisive and move the ball quickly. So I don't think it's going to be a game like West Ham where we just cut through them. We're so decisive through the middle of the pitch, where we just literally cut through them like a hot knife through butter. I think it's going to be more of a game like Brighton, where we use the width and try and get around them that way. But look, I think this is going to be a tough test, and I think Aston Villa, despite their recent form, are a very, very good team. They've got players that can punish you at any moment. But the best thing that Unai Emery's brought Aston Villa is that togetherness, working hard off the ball, pressing in numbers. He's built a chemistry in that squad. It's so difficult to break down a structure. But I won't be surprised we're seeing a similar tactic like we're seeing against Leicester, because Chelsea are going to have to use the width if they want to win this game of football. But I want to know what you guys think. I'm going to tell you my prediction. I'm going to go Chelsea 2, Aston Villa 1. I think the home advantage is absolutely crucial. But I want to know your thoughts. But I want to know your predictions. Where do you think this game can be won and lost? What's your prediction on the score? Because of this sheer amount of quality Chelsea have in their squad, who do you think is going to be starting? For me personally, I think Jorgensen deserves a start, but we all know that's not going to happen. But drop us a like, drop us a subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to drop a comment with your predictions. I would love to hear them. And until next time, thank you very much.